The Fire from Manila, Alexandra Isa, and the Miami Miracle. The Miami Open courts don't just radiate heat, they radiate pressure. A suffocating, soul-crushing weight that breaks most players before they ever reach their potential. But on one unforgettable afternoon, a teenage sensation from the Philippines didn't buckle beneath that pressure. She became the source of it. Alexandra Isa is no longer a name whispered in junior circuits. She is a force announced on the grandest stages. When she walked out to face Magda Linette, the odds were stacked against her in every measurable way. Linette is battle-hardened, a veteran who has traded blows with the elite of women's tennis and reached the Final Four of a Grand Slam through brilliance and tenacity. She is exactly the kind of player designed to expose the weaknesses of rising stars. She is the wall that young careers crash against. Isa didn't crash. She went straight through. The atmosphere, the stakes, the moment. Picture the Hard Rock Stadium baking under a Florida sky. The air is thick, heavy with humidity and anticipation. The crowd senses something rare is unfolding. This wasn't a routine first-round upset. This was a statement match, the kind that reshapes narratives and rewrites expectations. From the opening exchange, Isa played without hesitation. There was no deference, no caution, no sign that she recognized the weight of the occasion as anything other than an opportunity. Her left-handed forehand, a weapon honed through relentless training at the Rafa Nadal Academy, cracked through the Miami air with the sharpness of a thunderclap. Each shot carried intention. Each rally carried menace. The American crowd, always hungry for a breakthrough story, sensed they were watching one being written in real time. Tactical mastery beyond her years. What separated Isa from every other promising teenager on tour was not just her power. It was her intelligence. Conventional wisdom says a young player facing a seasoned veteran should play conservatively, keep the ball in play, survive, learn, hope for the best. Isa rejected that philosophy entirely. She attacked from the first point. She disrupted Linette's rhythm before it could form. Every time the veteran attempted to establish her preferred patterns, the change of pace, the probing slice, the tactical slowdown, Isa countered with something sharper, something heavier, something unexpected. Her ability to adjust mid-match was the most striking element of the performance. When Linette's slice began causing problems in the early stages of the first set, Isa didn't panic or force errors trying to overpower it. Instead, she recalibrated, lowering her strike point, adjusting her swing path, generating heavier topspin that forced Linette into a more uncomfortable contact zone. That adjustment, that precise in-match correction, is something coaches spend years trying to teach professionals. Isa did it instinctively, on the biggest hard-court stage outside a Grand Slam. The first set tiebreak was psychological warfare in its purest form. Every serve, every return, every point carried the weight of momentum. Linette used every veteran's trick available, altered pace, targeted pressure on the backhand, calculated pauses between points. Isa absorbed it all and responded with something more powerful than technique. She responded with composure. She won the tiebreak. She won the set. And from that moment, the match had only one possible conclusion. The second set was a demolition. Freed from the tension of the first set, Isa played with a fluency and ferocity that overwhelmed Linette completely. The final scoreline, 7-6, 6-1, told a story of total dominance once the first barrier was cleared. The physical blueprint modern tennis demands athleticism as a baseline requirement. You cannot compete at the highest level without elite movement. Isa's footwork, in particular, is a revelation. The small adjustment steps before each strike, the explosive direction changes, the ability to track down drop shots and redirect pace, it all speaks to thousands of hours of physical development. Against Linette, Isa looked like she was operating at a different speed than the match required. She was always in position. She was always balanced. She was always ready. That physical readiness doesn't arrive naturally. It is the product of an obsession with preparation that most people will never fully understand. Her serve adds another dimension to an already dangerous game. Despite her height, she generates exceptional pace and disguise from the service line. Linette, One of the better returners on tour was rarely comfortable reading the delivery. The ability to locate all four corners of the service box with an identical ball toss is a technical accomplishment that creates enormous tactical freedom throughout a match. The weight of a nation beyond the tennis itself lies a dimension that elevates Isa's story beyond the boundaries of sport. She walks onto every court carrying the hopes and pride of more than 100 million people. That kind of weight has ended promising careers before. It has transformed confident players into hesitant ones, turned attacking instincts into defensive anxiety. For Isa, it works in reverse. The support doesn't burden her. It fuels her. In her post-match moments, her first thoughts drift home. She is grounded in a way that elite teenage athletes rarely are. She understands the magnitude of what she represents, not just for Philippine tennis, but for the broader conversation about where the next generation of global tennis talent will emerge from. She is building something larger than a career. She is building a movement. Every victory she secures is a message sent to every young athlete in Southeast Asia that the world stage is accessible, that geography is not destiny, that ambition paired with relentless effort can overcome every structural disadvantage. The legacy being built. Philippine sports history is rich with giants. Manny Pacquiao unified the boxing world and unified a nation. Hidilyn Diaz lifted more than a barbell in Tokyo. She lifted an entire country's belief in itself. Alexandra Isa is stepping into that lineage. She carries that same fighting spirit, that same refusal to accept the limitations others place upon her. The Miami Open has historically been a platform for announcements. The great names of the sport have used this tournament to signal their arrival to the world. By dismantling Linette with the authority and intelligence she displayed, Isa has made her own announcement clearly and unmistakably. She belongs here. Not as a future projection. Not as a potential.
Now.
The locker room conversations happening after that result, veterans checking scoreboards, raising eyebrows, asking questions. That is how reputations form. That is how fear is seeded. Isa is planting those seeds deliberately, one commanding victory at a time. The beginning of everything when the final point landed and Isa raised her arms against the Miami sky, it was not relief on her face. It was inevitability. This was always where she was headed. The path was difficult, the obstacles were real, but the destination was never in doubt, at least not in her own mind. The 7-6, 6-1 victory over Magda Linette will be remembered as a turning point, not just in Isa's career, but in the broader story of women's tennis. It is the match that will be referenced when people trace back the rise of the next great champion. It is the match that will appear in the documentary, the biography, the highlight reel shown at Grand Slam introductions. For Filipino sports fans, the question will always live in memory. Where were you when she beat Linette in Miami? The answer, for millions of people, will carry pride and joy and a sense of shared history. The era of Alexandra Isa has begun. The hard courts of Miami were just the opening chapter. The Grand Slams await. The world rankings await. History awaits. She is ready for all of it. The fire she lit in Florida is not going out. It is just getting started.